Okay.
Okay, Marie, you are already co-host, so
Oh,
do you want to share the video?
Is it centered enough?
Well, you have to, we don't see a video right now. We just see your email.
Oh dear, I opened it. Can you see it? I'm going to start playing it. Can you see it?
No, Marie, we can't. Can you stop sharing your screen?
Okay.
Then start sharing again.
Okay.
You have
Thank
to
you,
open it.
Deirdre.
There we are. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yep.
Hi everyone, my name is Maritza Laureano Ortega. My pronouns are she, hers, and I work with El Centro de la Raza as their environmental justice educator and organizer. I apologize I wasn't able to be here today, but I'm just going to be giving some brief updates on the Fix the Harm campaign. For starters, I wanted to mention that I work very closely with the Spanish-speaking community at El Centro de la Raza's Plaza Roberto Maestas in El Patio Apartments, where I have been doing some very deep educational sessions with the Spanish-speaking community there to bring more awareness about the impacts of air and noise pollution and to learn more about SAMP and different ways that they can be involved with the Fix the Harm campaign. It's one of many ways that we are trying to get communities who tend to be forgotten or underrepresented and really get them to be involved more with this movement and make their voices be heard as well. I also work very closely with Maria and Christina on strategizing for the Fix the Harm campaign. Christina and I have been going around and asking businesses if they are able to if they're able to post our Fix the Harm poster in their windows or in their community boards, and efforts of getting more community members to sign our letter of concern. We will be following up with these businesses who have agreed to put up the posters within the next couple of weeks as well. I did want to share the poster with you all in case some of you haven't seen it yet. So let me just share my screen very quick. So this is the poster that we have been asking people, we have been asking businesses to put up. It is pretty much a quick and brief summary of our letter of concern. For those who don't have the time to read the whole letter in detail, they can just look at some quick facts here as well. And if they are interested in signing, they can do so by scanning the QR code, and that will take them to the Beacon Hill Council's website where they are able to sign as well. Just also briefly wanted to show you all how to get there. So when you do go to the Beacon Hill website, this is what it comes up to as well. You just click on the Fix the Harm campaign, and the letter of concern will be here, and it is also available in Spanish. And I know we are also currently working on an FAQ that will also be eventually put up here on the Beacon Hills websites. And questions include more on what the purpose of the campaign is for those who aren't familiar with it. What is the community plan to address the upcoming SeaTac airport service expansions, and different ways that community members can be involved with the campaign. And like I mentioned, we will eventually be putting up this FAQ on the Beacon Hill Council's website. For anybody who has any questions as well, they can look them up just very briefly. Right now, we are at around 450 signatures in total. We are asking for you all to please share our letter of concern or share the infographic or poster if that's a lot easier to share as well. The more people we can get to sign on, the better, and the more impact we will be able to have once we do present this letter to the Port of Seattle. And lastly, I did wanted to just mention some of the future tabling events that we will be doing as well. So we do tabling at the Beacon Arts Festivals. They happen every second Saturday of the month. We just had our tabling event for the month of July this last weekend. So our next one is going to be on August 13th, and they run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We also have been able to do tabling at the Columbia City's Farmers Market. Our next one is going to be on July 20th and also on August 24th, and they run from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And lastly, we may also be doing tabling this Thursday at the Jefferson Park Jumpstart concert. That's why the question mark is there. I am waiting on confirmation from Christina on this, but I will follow up with Maria as well if we will be doing tabling this Thursday for at Jefferson Park. And we are asking for volunteers as well to help Christina and I with these tabling events. So if you are interested, please reach out to Maria or Christina or myself as well, and we can help you get situated and we can help you get prepared for the tabling events as well. And that's pretty much it. I will ask Maria to put my contact information as well if you have any questions, or you can also just follow up with Maria or Christina as well. But thank you so much, everyone. And again, I apologize that I wasn't able to be here today. And I hope you'll have a great rest of your night. Thank you.
So a couple of updates. This Thursday, it will not be a tabling, it'll be a walkabout. So that we'll be able to gather signatures at the Jefferson Park Jumpstart music night. And the other is as far as sending an email if you want to volunteer, just email beaconhillcouncil@gmail.com. Yeah. Kind of exciting news. So she presents really well. I'm so impressed with Christina and with Maritza. Okay, any questions on that? If not, we'll move forward.
Let's see. Did you want to talk about the HEAL Act and Climate Commitments Act information?
Yeah, I think Cliff had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cliff. Go ahead.
Okay, but I sent another email to Maria and Alvin today about the Beacon median and that grass that is probably almost 2 feet high in spots. It's not being cut, and it's starting to get dangerous as you go through one of the cut throughs and take a left turn or so. You can't see because the stuff is so high, it's hard to see the incoming traffic. So it's starting to be a safety hazard, along with it being unsightly as hell. So I've been sending pictures to Maria, and it's just bad. But they need that. That's an SDOT thing, I think, but they need to take care of the median, cut it. You know, I don't think other areas of town, Magnolia and some of these other areas are facing that kind of issues, but this Beacon medium is rough. So
Cliff,
pass it on.
Cliff, can you share what Alvin said to you since you contacted him?
Well, he said, well, first I contacted him, maybe a week or 10 days ago. Then I contacted him again today. And he said he apologized for the SDOT's lack of follow through on it. I don't even think it sounded as if he hasn't even heard back from them. So I sent him another picture, number of pictures today. It's really bad, and he's just gonna get back in touch with them again. That's basically all he said. But like I said, it's really becoming starting to be dangerous taking when you go through a cut through and you take a left turn or whatever. It's hard seeing over the shrubbery to see the oncoming traffic until you merge right into it. If you get a moment, drive down the southern part of the median and you will see what I'm talking about.
That's true. It's happening here in Mid Beacon Hill also. The same thing, and you can't, because it's a hill on part of it. You can't see any of the traffic that's coming down unless it's a bus, but
Yeah.
You can't see cars coming.
Yeah, the grass is 3.5 feet to 4 feet on up.
Right.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Thanks for bringing that up, Cliff. I'm wondering if there is someone at SDOT we can contact about that directly.
That's who I sent it to Alvin because I didn't know what department handled it. and he said it was an SDOT thing and he contacted them. So I don't know who handles it. I just know it's not being handled.
Yeah.
No, the other thing is that median, it's part of parks. You know, that from Middle Beacon Hill to South. So that may be,
Parks and Rec?
yeah,
Okay,
that's part of the, I'm trying to remember, the old Olmsted Park system.
oh, wow.
But anyway, the important thing is, you know, we need to figure out who to contact.
Curiosity, I'm hearing people making some complaints about things like this on the Find It, Fix It app. Would that help or would that not?
Oh, that's a really good idea, Betty Jean. Maybe I'll do that. I'll make myself a note to do that tomorrow. I'll drive down there and do the Find It, Fix It app.
Yeah.
And Cliff, you said it was mid to South Beacon, the median?
The whole strip, yeah.
Okay.
I could send you some pictures. I could email you some pictures of it.
Well, Cliff, do you have the app on your phone? Do you
No,
have the, do you have the find, like what you can do is with it's called Find It, Fix It.
uh-huh.
It's a Seattle City app. And then I've done it for graffiti and dump trash before. Like you take a picture of it and then you open up the app and then you send them the location and what the problem is. They usually get back to me, like when I've used it, they'll get back to me within about 3 days.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm an old guy. I don't know all that technology.
Everybody, I'm
I
sorry.
just know how to raise my hand and raise hell.
So this is Betty Jean. I think that if everyone in this Zoom room went out this week and used the Find It, Fix It app and took pictures and sent it to them, that, you know, it's numbers, the number of complaints that gets attention at this stage. So I'd encourage people to do that.
I'll find I'll put it in the chat. Let's see. If you're in, here, I'll just put how to do it, because there's different, it depends what kind of phone you have, Android versus iPhone. So the links are here. Okay.
Yeah, just load the app on your phone, and when you open the app, it walks you through making a report and taking a picture that goes straight to the city. So it's a good way to do it.
Mhm. Okay, thanks for bringing that up, Cliff. I appreciate it. Let's see. We have an FYI SDOT update on North Bike Lanes plans moved to September.
Yeah, I put that there. Also, we have, I'm wondering, Dee, if you want to make any comments on that. We're expecting SDOT to give us an update on the follow-up community engagement they are supposed to be doing, like with the residents on 14th and 13th Avenue and 16th and 17th Avenue. There's also supposed to check in with the businesses, not just on where that North Bike is, but around the junction where there's a lot of businesses. They were also supposed to check in with the PacMed people, because a lot of the PacMed, either students or patients or employees, park on that strip. So they said they were not ready. So I said, okay, we're off August. Come on in September. So if you guys have any comments that you want to make about it, just giving room. Space.
Yeah, we'll continue to do our canvassing on the neighborhood to see if anyone's heard responses from SDOT and if they're satisfied with that, and just kind of wait for SDOT to respond.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're at new business for Maria. District 2 Seattle within reach input to Seattle Comprehensive Plan.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe a little bit about what this activity is. So The Seattle Comprehensive Plan holds the template for how the city is trying to build densification around transportation hubs. You know, so as an example, we had our Beacon Hill light rail, North Beacon Hill light rail hub that densified North Beacon Hill. And so what's going on right now is the Seattle Comprehensive Plan has a process wherein people are giving in amendments. So the mayor's office of planning and community development recommended that they delay taking any input until 2025 because they're trying to figure out what the actual impact of the previous upzoning and the previous densification. Now, the other side of that spectrum is Councilwoman Tammy Morales has been working with a coalition called Seattle Within Reach Coalition. And I'm going to share the screen so you know which organizations they are. Can you see this? So these are the organizations that are participating in that coalition. I'm just going to pause so you can take a look. It's fairly broad. Some of the folks I don't see is like our regular partner, Coalition for Immigrants, Refugees, and Communities of Color. We're not here because we were trying to get a hold of Devin so that he can present, but he's not able to. So I'm just going to go ahead and present this. So they have 3 recommendations that they want to put in, which is to provide zoning and accompanying land use regulation that will give more of our different kinds of housing types to accommodate housing choices for different kinds of household and different income levels. They want a wider diversity of job creating activities so that our diverse population will benefit from it. And they also want more of an accommodation of the full range of public services institutions for everyday needs such as commercial and nonprofit groceries, childcare, health services, fresh, healthy foods, home goods, and cultural anchors. So these kinds of recommendations are very compatible with what they call the 15-minute walk neighborhood, wherein they sort of wanted us to be more self-sufficient. And in Southeast Seattle, we don't have that many jobs. And so this is part of why they're saying the zoning could be adjusted so that there could be more jobs that would come into the area, more different housing choices, and more self-sufficiency kinds of services, amenities, and institutions. If you look at that, you will notice that it doesn't have the tree canopy. We had voted and we have submitted that amendment via Tree Pack, which is the coalition we belong to have a 30% tree canopy goal with a higher tree canopy goal for Beacon Hill itself, because we're considered a green desert. The Urban Forestry Commission has reviewed the amendments for the comprehensive plan, and they're not forwarding this recommendation at this time because they're thinking is that there is a process that will be larger that can take this on. So what Council Morales's office and the coalition is asking is to send letters to the Planning Commission, which is going to have a meeting on July 14th, and to do a public comment. So I'm going to stop sharing and ask if our community would be willing to support the recommendations, as well as reinforce that we wanted a 30% canopy to be established because of our situation not having enough trees. So I'm just going to pause and see if you guys have any questions or thoughts or comments, what you would like to do. What would you would like us to do as your council?
I, so I would support that, the council write a letter of support for that and include the tree canopy. Because if we don't get that language in there before the development, where are the trees going to be?
You guys agree with that recommendation? Or it's just not interesting? Okay,
How about, does anybody disagree
how about that?
or have concerns about it?
Okay. I'm not seeing any, so I'll go ahead and get that letter. It's gonna be a very straightforward letter that basically says, this is who we are, who we represent, and we support what this group is doing. This is what they want, and we want to make sure that we get our canopy. So I'm gonna get that done and send it in for this Thursday. So it's gonna be a fast turnaround. Okay, so thanks for that. And then the other one is kind of really interesting. So a state law has been passed called Climate Commitments Act, CAC. Climate Commitments Act has two large parts. One is it has a schedule for when industries are supposed to reduce their greenhouse gas, their carbon emission, and the schedule is to 2050. That's one part. The other part puts in place a cap and trade system. So I'm going to give you my simple understanding of a cap and trade, where we basically, industries that are not able to convert to cleaner fuel have the ability to pay into a fund and continue, it's like credits, continue to pollute basically, because the capital investment to change what they have, the systems that they have from using fossil fuel to a cleaner fuel or electric is very expensive. So in that cap and trade, the money that gets collected, and they're estimating $500 million a year, is going to be distributed so that part of it goes into cleaning and, you know, dealing with carbon, but the others dealing with BIPOC communities. So the CAC excludes aviation and agricultural industries. And one of the questions we have is, even if those are excluded because the state doesn't have jurisdiction directly over them, can our communities that need assistance for mitigation and for health, can we still benefit from, can we still access that money? I mean, it's going to take a lot to be qualified and all that, but can we stay to access that money? So what I would like to request is permission to really ask Earth Justice, the organization that's providing us with pro bono services with regards to the expansion of CTAC services. I want to be able to ask them if they could do an analysis of the bill so that we are able to understand it in a better way of what it can and cannot do. So that's my only ask for folks, because it's quite technical. I'm in a study group for it, but it's the implications are just so big. And it's patterned after a California model. And last year, there was a study that shows the cap and trade in California did not result in any carbon reduction. So this is a new bill that we need to understand what it's actually going to be able to do. So I'm going to pause and see if you have any questions on it. So the ask basically is to get a technical analysis from Earth Justice.
Well, I think any additional information would be helpful. And it is a very complex situation, and I'm curious what their intention is with that 50% that's going to BIPOC communities for. I mean, how is that going to be used? How is it going to be distributed?
Yeah, so I can give you a large sketch on what. There are departments that are part of the study. There's two involved, actually. One is HEAL Act, which is Healthy Environment for All, that the Environmental Justice Council is appointed from. And when Climate Commitments Act was going to be passed, they kind of did a political compromise move to have the distribution of money be done by the Environmental Justice Council. So there's several things going on. One is the state departments are going to be asked to do air quality monitoring and what they call environmental justice assessments. So there's work on our part to make sure that our issues are visible. And then from then, there's going to be a whole process. Again, this law just passed. The rules are not in place yet. Supposedly there'll be knowledge as far as which areas are impacted, and to take a look at what would be helpful to those areas and do the allocation from there. So the most obvious one is I'm trying to think of I think it's the Lummi tribe, wherein they were right by the rising waters, and their community center, childcare, education will go under, so they need to relocate those. So that's an example of what may be fundable because it's a climate impact. But right now we're on step one, which is really to have an understanding. Also, we need that because we may need to comment on this bill on how it impacts us. And I talked with Marissa Ordonia from Earth Justice, and she says we need to put the request in writing, and then she'll take it to her management team to see if they have capacity. And she's thinking it's connected enough with some of the issues that we've been dealing with that they'll probably give attention to it. Okay. So Deirdre, you get to ask your magic question. Is there any objection to doing this? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead if there's no objection. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Deirdre.
Okay, next is, okay, we've talked about the HELAC and climate commitments. Other announcements, Amy, Andy from Port of Seattle's computer apparently died. So Amy's gonna share, he had an event to share this Saturday that's happening in South Park. So Amy's gonna pull up the email and share it. While we're waiting for Amy, are there any other announcements?
Sure. As has been mentioned, this Thursday in Jefferson Park at 7 o'clock, there's going to be a free concert. It's the first of 5 weekly concerts on Thursday evenings. This week features opening ceremony by the Leong Kung Fu and Lion Dance team at 7, followed by psychedelic funk live music by the Wags. And there are posters up all over the place with this series listed, the different kind of music each week. And if you come, we encourage you to, you might want to bring a picnic. there's not, we don't have chairs for seating, so seating is on the ground or bring your own lawn chair. And be a fun evening. Oh, and also for Garden House, if anyone is interested in having some more input on what should be happening at Garden House, you should go to the Historic Seattle website and make comment there. Or there's one more event at Garden House on July 27th, and you can register for that on the Historic Seattle website as well.
What time do the concerts start, Betty Jean?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Thank you. And that is posted on Beacon Arts website or Beacon Arts Facebook, or where can people find out more?
Those places. And yeah, if you Google Beacon Arts Seattle, you'll find it on many platforms.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to read aloud. I'm sorry, somebody say something. I'm just going to pass on Andy's email. It's in the chat, but I'll just read it in case the folks on the phone don't have access to chat. That this on July 16th, the port will be hosting a grand opening of the Duwamish Rivers People's Park from 11 to 3. It used to be called Terminal 117, I think. That, you know, there were those parks kind of along the Duwamish River. So they renamed the number 117 park as Duwamish River People's Park. So they're going to have a fun day of a big park opening with a super fun site and one of the largest habitation restoration sites on the river. And you can find more on, we will advertise this on our Beacon Hill Facebook page and Twitter. Any other announcements?
Cliff has his hand up.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I wanted to announce it last meeting, but we ran way over. The stairwell project on 39th, this great big project from 39th Avenue going down to Carkeek, where they're just carving it right out of the green belt. They started that about a month ago. And that's a SDOT project. Obviously, the spokesperson is Lisa Harrison. But they started that project. My concern is that we met with SDOT 2 years ago in August, the community. We met with them, and that's the last I heard of the project until they started it. So anyway, that project is in full steam now. They found out that that hill where they're carving through has a lot of water run through it, and yeah, now they're having to pile drive big piles of big metal things in there, and they had to bring in truckloads and truckloads of gravel, great big rock chunks to kind of solidify that hill that they're carving through that green belt. So it's turned into a major project. But my real concern is 2 years ago when we met, we pretty much unanimously told them that we did not want it because all the transits living in that and squatters living in that green belt and the drugs and everything else going on. Obviously it didn't make SDOT a difference because they went on with the program anyway. But we hadn't heard nothing until they started the project about 5 weeks ago. So anyway, that project is in full swing and they're working through it, trying to stabilize what they just dug up. So there you go.
Thanks, Cliff.
Hey, Cliff, what was the cross street again? 39th and?
It's on 39th, right where Beacon hits 39th. That's where my house is, and it's the back of my house is 39th Avenue, and it's just one block north from 39th and Beacon. There's actually no street there, but it's, you can see it. It's right there, right, just south, just north of my house in the back, about maybe 100 feet, 200 feet. Yeah, and then it's just carved out, and they're just going from 39th down to Carkeek. So it's quite a dig out.
Thanks, Cliff.
Roberta, you said, did anyone know if trees being removed along Beacon Avenue, is it part of putting in the ADA ramps if those trees will be replaced? Roberta, where are they removing trees? I haven't seen that.
They're posted. It's along Beacon near, I think it's Ferdinand and Bennett. There's a couple tagged that are going to be removed. I mean, that, you know, they've only gone up so far, or gets so far down south on Beacon. I'm sure they're going to keep going, but as of right now, there's about probably at least 3 or 4, I think, that have been tagged to be removed.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go on Beacon and look at that. I guess that would be a question for SDOT. I am glad they're putting in ADA ramps. It's about time. I always worry about people who have ambulatory difficulties, like getting around the neighborhood. So
Yeah, absolutely. The work needs to be done, but I'm just concerned that, I mean, we don't have a lot of trees in this part of the city as it is. And so to get more removed is not a positive thing.
yeah, I agree with that. Like, I'm wondering if they could like put them nearby, but not so that they would disrupt the ramps, right?
Right. We don't want it to also cause damage to the new sidewalks that are to be put in.
Yeah.
You might want to ask if they're planting replacements and where and what size. Because if they're just doing baby, baby trees, saplings, as opposed to, 4-year-old or 5-year-old trees, which are a little bit more expensive. We're sort of always playing catch up. And I appreciate what you're saying, Roberta.
I got one other thing, if I can.
Go for it, Cliff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm kind of talkative today. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Hey, on today's Seattle Times, on the very front page, A1 or whatever the front page is, there's a big article about Safeway in Othello, and there's talk of replacing that store with all the construction and everything going around. I reached out to my Safeway. Those who know me know I retired from Safeway, and I reached out to my Safeway connection. I haven't heard back from them yet, so I don't know what the status of that is or whatever. But it's obviously a plan that's in a long range plan. It's nothing that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months. But anyway, it was an article today in it, very front page, about Othello Safeway. I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, because I read that too, and I was concerned that they might do the same kind of remodel they did at the Rainier Avenue Safeway, towards Mount Baker, between Genesee and Mount Baker, because what they did was build a store inside the store and put all of the liquor lining the aisle where you have to line up to check out from that section of the store. And the other things that are in that area are facial tissue and baby diapers, baby food. So every young mother has to go through into a second part of the store to get their supplies for their children, and then bring their children with them through the liquor department. I refuse to go in that store anymore.
Well, I would, I used to manage that store, but it wasn't like that. I opened up that store in 1995 when we closed the Genesee Safeway. And I was store manager down there. Now, they did this store within a store, mainly behind theft, which is a real problem. It's a real problem, not only in the Rainier Valley, but all over town, everywhere. shoplifting is a major issue. And of course, that Rainier Valley store is not the only Safeway that has a store within a store. But if you go into that section, you see there's a lot of the items that people like to steal are in there. So, but anyway, that's why they did it. As a store manager, I disagree with it, but it is what it is. That's the way that they're going now. And anyway, so that's why. And I would encourage you to write your feelings to Safeway.
Yeah, I should. Because
Does anyone know what's going into the old Rite Aid next to QFC down there on McClellan?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know anything was going in there.
Well,
So I just wondered if it was.
it's
because-
boarded up,
Yeah.
you know, so I was thinking, okay, are they, you know, because there's a big housing right behind QFC and the Rite Aid. So I wasn't sure if they were getting ready to do something or if it's just COVID being so hard on businesses. That's why it's closing, you know, because there's a
Well,
Bartell about 5 blocks up the street.
Right, who owns the Rite Aid now? But the
Yeah.
in that article, that same article in the paper yesterday about Safeway also mentioned that that QFC down there, and it said that it wasn't being expanded. So I didn't know if that was correct or if anyone had heard about something. Maybe they're expanding the QFC, which it is could possibly be bigger.
Well, Rite Aid bought out Bartell's.
Excuse me, I had that wrong. Yes, correct.
Yeah, Rite Aid merged and bought out or acquired Bartell's maybe a year ago. I don't know. And so you got that Bartell's right next door. So either the Rite Aid was going to close or the Bartell's, and obviously the Bartell's is there. I think that's the reason why it closed, because they got the Rite Aid in Rainier Beach on Henderson. What's going there, I don't know. Haven't even gave it any thought, but I very seriously doubt if the QFC right next door has any plans to expand. But with that being said, I don't really know. QFC normally doesn't like to operate that large of a store, with the exception of the University Village QFC.
Hey, a lot of intel. This is great.
Matter of fact, the QFC where the Safeway is on the one by Franklin High School, the one that I used to manage before Safeway purchased that and closed the Genesee store. It was offered to Associated Grocery, because it used to be Max Foods, if you remember, and it was offered to Associated Grocers. They didn't want no part of it. Then that site was offered to QFC, and they didn't want it. Then Safeway came in as a third person, and then QFC went down there on McClellan Street. Even though the article in today's newspaper said they've been there for 60 years, that is not true.
No.
Okay. Well, we have the gift of time. It's still bright out there.
Is that great?
Yeah. So we're gonna close this meeting, right, Deirdre?
Ooh.
Yep, so next meeting, remember, no meeting August, but please go and enjoy the National Night Out and hang out in your neighborhood and barbecue, get to know your neighbors. And we will see you, we're meeting September 13th. I guess that's second week of September, because we don't meet right after a long weekend, so.
Can I ask something real fast? I heard, and I don't know how true it is because I really haven't seen it, but Tammy Morales was working on trying to permanently close down Lake Washington Boulevard and make it accessible for bike riding. Has anybody heard anything else about that? Or has anybody heard anything period about that?
No, that's big.
Well, yeah.
That
They
is
normally
big.
do on some of that Sunday bicycle riding things, but I heard that she wanted to shut it down permanently, maybe through the summer or something. I didn't know. But I can't take one of my old classic cars down there if that's the case, and I don't like that. Yeah. So
That's
anyway,
a good one to check. Cliff, I'll send you the email and the phone number for her staff if you want to.
I got the email with Tammy, but evidently she don't like answering my emails because I emailed her 3 times and never once heard back from her.
So
So
we try with the staff. I'll send you her staff email.
well, anyway, I just thought I'd pass that on. I'm done with Tammy.
Well, you know what's amazing about that is in the summertime, generally some of the streets are closed for longer swaths of time, right? Like a Saturday and a Sunday.
Right.
But I bet you the people who live around that area would be the very first ones to say something if they don't like it.
Well, yeah, you would think. Yeah.
Neighborhood is posh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, if we can go, then I'll go back and listen to today's hearing recap.
Enjoy.
Okay, thank you.